Well, it looks like Carthage is actually going to get a turn in this turn of Caralis. The Romans again moved forward here, did a little bit of skirmishing with the light infantry. Mixed results. One Roman velite fled, one light Sardinian fled. That's not where the big guns are for them, though. They moved up and rallied some of the Hastardi up here. The Tribune can't actually affect the cohorts, but he also ran out of actions. So at this point, we get to start moving some of the Carthaginian forces. 4-point leaders back here. Up here with the cav. Cav is probably the most important thing for me to use right now. So that may well be what I'm going to be hitting with. So I've chased the Roman cav off the board. Should be pretty much uncontested and able to hit those flanks pretty hard. Of course, there's sort of a recharge rate for the cav. Once it hits, it eventually takes enough damage that it has to be pulled out of the combat. So this is really the race here. Can the Carthaginians get their fleeing units rallied, and can they damage enough Roman units to disrupt this Roman formation enough and prevent it from being able to hit this and finish the battle off there? Right now what's at the front line isn't that strong, so pushing forward with those is also a good option for the Carthaginians, because the shock superiority chart gives it an advantage to the Romans when they're attacking against these mediums, but not when they're defending. And the phalanx as well. The phalanx is better off defending. So moving that forward, other than just to screen to protect the flanks, seems kind of like a weak move. Of course, there's some light infantry still remaining up there to protect them, so maybe they don't need the phalanxes right up at the front, or maybe, I don't know. We'll see how that works out. More bad luck for Carthage, though. Another pair of 9s on a die roll of doom situation. Looks like all these are going to go. Just hoping to be able to rally them. Managed one here. Didn't manage to rally this side. That's going to go flying off the board. The cav didn't get a continuation on it. Was just able to recuperate some strength on it. So the Romans, again, get away with an easy break off the fact that rolling for continuations can cause. Now this one, at least Carthage was trying to make the rolls. It wasn't just Rome's decision, because there's nothing Carthage could do about it on Rome's decisions. But still, they really needed these continuations, and they're just coming up way too often in double 9s. Alright, well, we'll see what the points are going to be. After some units rout off the board, we'll see where they go. Okay, so Rome lost 9. Puts them up to 50. But Carthage lost 12, 30, or 22, 32, 42, 43, 44. Which is going to put them up to 79. So Carthage is over the halfway point here. We haven't even engaged with the heavy infantry yet there. But basically their whole front line just has run. And that's one of the dangers of having those lights in there. You want them as the speed bump. You expect that you'll be able to rally them with good leadership, but it just hasn't been happening this game, mainly because of the die roll of dooms coming up. Kind of a very random effect. On top of that, there was something else I wanted to mention here, and I don't remember what it was. Okay. Well, anyway, definitely seeing a lot of randomness having an effect on this game. I was kind of hoping to use this as a showcase for maybe, hey, the Carthaginians can hold up even with inferior force, maybe, if they are bold enough. Well, here, they haven't gotten a chance to be bold, and in fact, luck's gone so far against them that we're just not seeing a good fight of it with this. Oh, that was one thing. The Cav broke up some of the velites, sent them flying. Last turn was a bonus turn for Carthage in terms of the points gained because a lot of Roman routers left the board, made some points there. Their own routers had not made it quite as far. In this case, though, now they're paying the price for all these inactive turns while their troops have been slowly streaming their way back. Well, whatever. We'll see how it turns out, but it definitely looks grim. Still over here in Caralis, the Romans have pretty much finished their actions. Oh no, I still got one left. Well, I might as well talk a little bit. They pushed forward a little bit. Again, still fighting against these lights here. Still nothing much happening in the center. The recent actions, the recent turns ending quickly have prevented some of those actions from happening, especially on the Carthaginian side. So, we'll see what follows up. This guy's probably going to be trying to heal those troops still. The problem is he can't heal the cohorts here. Now, this is a funny thing because I'm always forgetting the Roman, or not noticing, the Roman command rules. So, for example, guy back here rallied a couple of these velites he wasn't allowed to. It's really hard to keep track of for me. Because it's one thing to keep track of, I've got a certain command, but it's another, I've got any of the ally units or align with other units in it, or it's just really difficult for me to keep track of it. And that's one of the kind of annoying aspects of this particular game. Most of, I think the Greek ones, the Alexander battles over here, I haven't played them in a long time, but I think they're more, you can command whatever you like for the most part, unless the scenarios specify something different. And the Carthaginians, for example, can command pretty much what they like. Again, some of the scenarios specify, this leader can only command this, but that's fine. But the Roman command rules are kind of a bitch to remember and keep track of. I've probably favored the Romans a little bit by screwing those up. Anyway, let's get on, and hopefully the Carthaginians will actually get a turn here. But launching the phalanx against kind of the Roman cohorts back here, and maybe some Hastati as well, it was very effective actually. There are not a lot of them there, but they managed to punch a couple holes in the sides here. See a lost unit, because some slingers were able to run up and harass the routers. And it is looking kind of encouraging to see that, especially since the Cav can slam in here. Rome's considering, no way. Didn't trigger him yet. I don't know why he's flipped over. Rome's considering trying to go for a trump here, just to reduce the effect of the leaders who are left. Maybe they should have done that before, but now that they're seeing this collapse, they're kind of worried that we're going to see an attack over on this side too, which might, really pry apart that front line. I'm not sure. Well, in terms of board position, it looks like the Roman army is actually on the ropes here. The front line didn't survive very well against those phalanxes, and the light infantry and mediums kind of pushing. And these Ligurians are actually better than the Celts. I didn't realize how much stronger they are. They're almost, they're as good as, in terms of quality, the Iberian forces. And they're just some of the Sardinian rebels, but, they're kind of high quality when it comes down to it. Bunch of the Roman units running, including one of the cohort extraordinaires or whatever, which are supposed to be pretty decent. But when we look at points, it doesn't look as good. Rome lost 4 only. We took 12, 22, 27 here for Carthage. So Carthage isn't really far from their breaking point. They're over 100. They only need 20 more points basically to break, whereas the Romans need 100 or need 80 points to break. So remaining, it doesn't look likely that Carthage is going to be able to survive this. A little bit of bad luck ended up maybe posing some real problems for Carthage here. They were able to recover their position on the board, but not their point loss for all those routing units. Of course, there's a lot of routing Roman units, but it's not 100 points or 80 points worth running right now. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, see, under 50 easily. And there's still the Principe line, which can probably crush this. Definitely seeing, though this kind of is a weaker Roman army in terms of quality than most, so it's not quite as able to withstand the attacks that maybe we expected when I was looking at it at first, because these are still as good as anything. And the Cav, although weak, is very potent. We saw it just smash in and do some damage there, and we'll see what else can happen. But the Romans are having trouble organizing themselves for this attack. Oh, I didn't activate it. Well, that's okay. Okay, still at Caralis, the Romans have started to turn off by launching their Priori Principes forward. Some of them just forming up a line somewhat closer to do a follow-up. It's a matter of getting the free moves to get up into place. They're planning on smashing through these Celts and then maybe swinging around to finish off the phalanx. But the main line smashed in to reinforce the front line with the Hastardi and the cohorts. They have cohorts mixed in too, and causing a little bit of action. There was a unit destroyed here by double missile fire. Actually, I don't think that happens. I think I made a mistake there. I think this guy actually routes on the missile fire, and he has nowhere. Actually, he could have gone one to here. And then the question is, do the Romans want to deal with him? And the answer is probably not. It's fine that he's running around back there. They'll just pass by him. All right. And then resolving some of these attacks, we're going to see if they can break through. In particular, I'm worried about hitting this phalanx here. It's 3 shifts against them for hitting that, so that could be kind of painful. Well, in particular, they were very successful, but in particular the phalanx broke. Everything they hit broke. But the phalanx broke because it was already weakened from combat. Now, it dealt more damage to the legionnaires hitting it, but still, breaking the phalanx is a major thing. So now we got to pull these people out. I'm going to try to keep this a hole in front of that phalanx because I can come around and hit it easier that way. It's better to attack and hit on the flank, especially since I'm kind of weak here. Now the phalanx could probably wheel and get through or something. These guys have to go through the phalanxes, which is going to cause tactical quality hits as well as possible additional ones. And there are additional ones. We took 1, 2, 3 here. I'm going to have to try to remember. And 2 on the other one. Trying to remember where the placements are. They have to be here and here, and this guy is going to run up this way, I guess. Now I make checks to make sure that the Romans. This guy just ran into something where he has to make a morale check. Has a chance of breaking. I don't think any of the phalanxes are in that bad a shape. And he's okay. So he'll go down to a 4. 4 up here. And that's, you know, like I said, this is a game with a lot of little mechanical actions in it. And that's kind of what you have to face there. I'll make a quick check for momentum. I used this guy. He should have actually moved forward, I think. He didn't have to. We'll move forward 1 space. And he's not going to get a continuation. And then we'll go on to another Roman, and on and on and on. This is what Carthage has to face every time. Alright. Just thought I'd zoom in on that and get a little bit of the action going. It's been a while since I've done that. Knowing the cautiousness of the Roman general, I'm still playing him kind of cautiously. Reformed this line into stacked units to allow the Principes to come through and do the final blow on these forces. The reason for this is these guys have been slow to recover. They needed to get this guy essentially up there to recover him. The Tribunes can't do it. But the Tribunes were able to recover some of the Hastati, and they slammed through and broke a couple of the medium infantry. Another quick check for momentum, and that fails. So then this guy will probably go back and try to rally some of these guys back here if he can. You know, they're not really helpful. I just want to prevent the points from escaping the map is basically the point here. I think I've got enough to win the battle. Just make sure things don't get out of hand ever. Well, the positioning of that Roman line forced where it was, you know, stacked in checkerboard in order to allow the Principes through, allowed the Celts to make an attack, forcing the line to redeploy. They want to make this attack anyway. They're getting a flank hit here, and they're making, they have an advantage on attacking as compared to defending against the legionnaires. We'll see what results. And the Celts more or less broke that entire Roman line. They left 1 unit behind. Now that thing was pretty well worn, which is why it collapsed so easily. The Celts didn't take any damage. Hamilcar was able to run around and actually rally a number of units because of it. And now we've got, you know, a situation developing on this front that looks promising for the Carthaginians, but there's still this heavy line ready to smash into them, and it's going to get first strike. It's going to drive them back, I think. We'll see. They're not very worn, the Celts here, or Sardinian rebels, or whatever you want to call them. They say Celts on them. But we got a couple more Carthaginian leaders try to rally the center here. And of course Hasdrubal. For a moment there, it looked like the tide had completely turned, and actually, in terms of the field situation, it's really in the advantage of the Carthaginians at this point. They've managed to slide their phalanx forward into an outflanking type position, just where I want them. The cav on the side here, nothing really remaining as reserves except for the Triari line, which, as we know, is pretty useless by this point. I'll have to take a look and see whether or not they can be activated, because they might be the remaining thing to help Rome at this point. The overall commander, though, ran around, rallied some forces. I remembered to move him this time at the last moment after I'd already started doing my counter cleanup. But I don't know, he was taking a nap or something last turn. Gave the Romans a little bit of a challenge here. Now, here's the thing. With Carthage able to move their leaders finally, it's kind of turning out to be a real fight. We got 11 points for the Romans, 12 more for Carthage. That, you can't maintain that kind of trade-off as Carthage with how far behind they are right now. They only need to lose 7 more and they're going to break. But, and that's, you know, almost guaranteed. But their tactical position is really wonderful at this point. If they had only gotten their commanders in play earlier, then again, of course, maybe the Principes wouldn't be forward when they try to execute that outflank. And it's the fact that everything's committed that's making this look so painful. But I think that everything committed is going to be enough to break the Carthaginian line at this point. Anyway, I'll load this one up and see whether Carthage can pull off a miracle here.